And good morning. I'm going to begin this morning by quoting from one of the most famous songs John Lennon ever wrote, called Imagine. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. I, too, like John, am a dreamer. I was not the only ones. And there are millions of us around the globe that are visionaries and dreamers of a world that lives as one. It is something that drives me. It is something that makes me solution-oriented. When I see a problem, I want to resolve the issues and to find peace. Create peace if necessary. Today's title is 2012, Shutting the Mouths of the Critics. That dream yesterday afternoon, or whatever it was, does not leave me, at least not yet. Don't get me wrong, I have great respect for Tim Turner and what he has done to reestablish the Republic. Nevertheless, controversy swirls around him, even in the larger community of which he has been and is an integral part. What if he asked Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich to become the standard bearers for the reconstituted Republic? That was the thought that grabbed my attention yesterday. What if? Now let me switch over to another page. I'm no doubt going to be criticized from all angles again for the stance that I'm taking today, for the suggestion that I had the gall to make public yesterday. But I took a nap in the afternoon, and when I awakened from the nap, it was like a celebration that I saw in whatever it was, the dream or whatever, and I had the sense that exactly what I just suggested in that actually happened, that Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich became the standard bearers for the Republic, that Tim Turner actually said, look, we need somebody that doesn't have the amount of controversy surrounding him as what I have. And he asked them politely and kindly to please consider, and they accepted, and there was great joy in the land. As one of the stories that I remember reading a long time ago. I don't even remember where it was, but there was great joy in the land. And we need great joy in the land because there is great controversy, there is great dissension among the people. And some of it is, of course, caused by the people that have behaved criminally in politics. But anyway, when I finally came to the computer after the dream, one of the people had posted on the Republic Facebook page, I pledge my support to Barack Obama. And it was an April Fool's joke. But having just come out of the dream and had been meditating on it and had these thoughts running through my mind, I sat down and I responded to that initial thing of pledging their support as a joke to Barack Obama. And I posted this. I just woke up from a nap a short while ago with whatever it's called, a dream, an epiphany. You choose the word. The overwhelming thought as I reflect on whatever it was may sound equally like an April Fool's joke. However, it makes perfect sense to me. I think the Republic, and especially Tim Turner himself, should ask if Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich would be willing to be the carriers of the torch for the Republic as the interim president and vice president. This is not a put down of any personality, but it would instantly shut the mouths of the critics that oppose Tim Turner for reasons imagined or real. It would also give the Republic the instant recognition and respect it has never been able to garner, including, with Dr. Paul at the helm, overwhelming military support. As I said in one of my recent videos, that was my vision of the interim leaders long before I ever heard about the Republic. To me, it makes perfect sense. For those who claim Tim Turner is a control freak, such a decision on his part would reveal his heart as that of a true servant of God and the people, who is willing to lay aside his role for the good of the whole. I could easily write much more, but as insane as this may sound to some, I'm throwing the idea out there to see where it may land. Of this I am certain. I want the Republic to succeed. No single individual is worth more than that idea whose time is now. And like Tim Turner, I am here to see this dream manifest on earth, to do whatever it takes to make it a reality. Let's shut the mouths of the critics that usurp the government. Then we really can be the light of the world with the spirit of the ever-living, non-religious Christ burning brightly in our hearts. As I said at the beginning today, I have long been accused of being a dreamer and an idealist. Indeed, I accept those accusations, because when I see controversy, I want to find a solution the best I can. When somebody gives me a problem, to me it's an order, fix it. And I realize realistically that I'm not able to fix every problem. But that's how my mind goes into gear. That's how my being reacts to that kind of situation, with searching for solutions. And I think, as I've been listening over the past few days to many of the critics of the Republic as established by Tim Turner, and criticisms of Tim Turner himself, I realize that so many of these critics believe some of the same things that I do. They just don't like the personality. They're not willing to forgive and forget some of the things that apparently Tim Turner has done mistakenly, which he admits that he has made mistakes. I mean, I've heard him admit that. And they're not seeking reconciliation. Some of these critics just keep throwing rocks. And as I said in what I just read that I posted yesterday on my Facebook page and on the Republic page and on the site of the interview with Drake yesterday with Terry, who has been one of Tim Turner's main critics in the United States. I listened to them. I listened to her and him, and I've been reading what others have been saying. And so the dream should come to me in a nap is not a surprise, because it was my subconscious reconciling the situation and coming up with a plausible, at least to me, a plausible solution. Now this morning, and I haven't had a chance to go through all of my emails yet, but one of the responses suggested that we don't need attorneys. Well, of course, Dr. Ron Paul is not an attorney. He's a doctor. And I didn't know what Dennis Kucinich is, but I guess he is a member of the Bar Association of Ohio, which makes him an attorney, which makes him, under the original Constitution, ineligible to hold political office. But I wonder if that's also true of people that are going to be serving the republic in the court system, in the judicial branch. Most of those are going to have to be trained in the law, and most of them are going to be bar certified attorneys. I know the head of the ecclesiastical court is not only bar certified in the United States, he's internationally bar certified. So he has double certification and the highest certification possible. He's basically a judge internationally and federally. And yet he sits at the head of the common law ecclesiastical court. There are many issues that we're going to have to resolve here. And I'm not claiming that I have all the answers, because I know I don't. And then there's a lot of my friends that still want to see a jump to a world that doesn't have any politics at all, that doesn't have any government, that doesn't have any money. I don't see that happening for 30, 40 years at the earliest, because we're not ready to make that jump. I don't believe humanity or creation makes such a jump except by annihilating the old and starting over again. And I pray to God, to Creator, that that's not what has to occur this time. But that's the only way that I can see such a jump, is completely demolishing the structure of the world we live in and starting over, which would mean a tremendous depopulation, which is exactly what the criminals that have been running our world want to do with their project to depopulate the earth and bring the earth down to 500 million people, a more manageable size, in which they can sit at in the controls and run everything. There are so many eugenicists that have been operating since actually right after the First World War. There's been a eugenicist movement in the United States and Europe of people that believe that they have to control the population, and it has infected China with its one-child policy, and other nations in Europe where it seems like the population is growing out of control and it must be limited by poisoning people and by sterilizing people. I'm not in favor of any of that, because I sincerely believe that the earth is able to support whatever number of people live here. And if we could only stop the insanity that's been going on with the polarization and come together in unity, look for solutions that bring unity. That's what I've been about. That's what I'm proposing. That's why I'm part of the Republic, because I see that that is the foundation. Someone said, why build on a rotten, my cousin actually said, why build on a rotten foundation? Well, I'm sorry, but from my perspective, the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence and that which was built on the Magna Carta and even biblical foundations of principle are great foundations. I mean, I'm not saying the Bible is perfect or any of these documents are 100% perfect. I'm not saying that, but they provide a foundation upon which we can build a structure that has a chance of bringing peace to the entire world. If every nation was a republic founded on the principles of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, with the exception of giving rights to everybody, regardless of race or gender or creed or any other limitations that may seem to have been imposed in the original documentation, if we can overcome those issues and allow everyone an equal chance and a clean slate, man, the world would be a beautiful place. I mean, we would have another renaissance, as I've said so many times, a rebirth of creativity where people are rewarded for their efforts and everyone has an opportunity to create, to produce, to contribute to the greater whole. And I try to think in terms of what serves the greatest good, what serves the highest in humanity, what kind of a world can we create where everyone is a winner, where there's only win-win situations. Now, I don't believe that we can create a win-win situation with those people that still want to maintain control over everybody else. that attitude is a non-winning attitude. It's a losing attitude. It cannot come into this new world, this kingdom of heaven on earth, if you will, that I believe is being created, that we're being given the opportunity to create in 2012 and the years that will follow. We're being given the opportunity to make a world that literally works for everyone, except those that want to rule over everybody else and control everybody else. But politics is not about leadership in the respect of control leadership, of domination. It's not what it's about. It's about service. He that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And when I accepted the role of Secretary of State to run for that office and took the oath of office, I vowed to serve the people, all of the people. And Tim Turner made that declaration, and all of us in the Republic had to make a declaration that we were here to serve, especially those of us that hold offices. We hold offices, laying aside even some of our rights temporarily so that we can serve the people and serve the highest good of the people. That's what the Republic is all about. And so many of these other republics that have been tried to be formed, so many of these other splinter groups that have arisen, many times in opposition to Tim Turner, many of these have the exact same ideas that we have. They're not even on a different page. They're on the same page. They just don't like a personality. So if a personality is the problem, for God's sake, if it was me, if I was in Tim Turner's shoes and I realized that I was the problem because people had judged me, even if it was unfairly judged, I would want, first of all, an opportunity to face my accusers face to face, publicly, and answer their criticisms. I would want to do that. But if I saw that somebody else could be the standard bearer for what my dream and my vision was, I would say, hey, please, you're in a position greater than I am to bring this together, to bring this vision together and manifest it in the world. And there is nobody, as I see it, in this world that has greater respect in more nations than Ron Paul. He is inevitably a man of principle. He has stood on that principle for years. He is unquestionably, they cannot throw mud at him because he hasn't created mud in his life. He's been an exemplary individual of high moral standard and principle that nobody can attack. Nobody can attack. And who better to represent and hold the standard for the world, for world peace, for creating a government or recreating a government based on the original Constitution and the principles of the Constitution? Who better than Ron Paul? Now, does he have critics? Of course he does. Nobody in this world is going to be above criticism. Nobody. Especially, they're going to be criticized by those that want to maintain the status quo. The status quo cannot be maintained. That is a problem that I cannot fix. The people that have tried to do that have created this domination system, they can be forgiven if they repent and tell the truth, but they cannot be reconciled with the world because that world vision doesn't work. It creates animosity and enmity and polarization. That doesn't work. But those that have a vision of a world that works for everyone, the dreamers that John Lennon was talking about, those of us that see a world as one and at peace, those of us that see that, we can and we must find a way to work together and to produce that world. It is possible, and the Spirit of the Creator will work in and through us to bring that to pass. I believe that, with whatever it's going to take. So I see that the time is pretty much up, so I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you once again for listening, and namaste.